Okay, today's a good day. We're getting a pump in the market. You got Bitcoin back at 116,417. You have green bubbles. And the reason why we're getting this pump is because Trump just changed the game. He basically he changed crypto retirement plans, or basically you could say Trump signed off your crypto retirement plan, because what he did was he approved 401ks getting access into crypto and a whole lot of other alternative assets. And I mean, this is not new news, as I'll show you, but it was signed into effect today. That executive order was getting signed into effect today, and that's why the crypto markets are pumping, and we've got ourselves some green bubbles. The one big pump though is actually ETH. I mean, just look at ETH. ETH is on a tear. It's almost back, breaking that trend line. And I do think that once we break this trend line, it's going to fly. It's going to fly. Now, the big reason why I think ETH is pumping is actually because of Coinbase and Base, right? There's a lot of noise around Coinbase and Base. Specifically, Brian Armstrong came out and said that pretty much every token on Base is going to be tradable through the Coinbase app. And I'll show you exactly how that's going to happen. That's driving a lot of the Base related tokens. The big question for me is, when I looked at the performance on Base, and then I compared it to like what's happening on Solana, and I looked at the Sol ETH chart. The Sol ETH chart looks something like that. So what I want to do today is I really want to look deep into Base, and then I want to compare it to Solana and understand the differences in terms of what's happening on Solana and what's happening on Base. So 401k is crypto retirement, and like a little comparison between Sol and Base. Let's do this thing, guys. Let's do it. 𝗥𝗶𝗴𝗵𝗴, rise and shine, rise and shine, rise and shine, guys. 𝗥𝗶𝗴𝗵, Gaston, 𝗥𝗶𝗴𝗵, bro. Kryptonian, 𝗥𝗶𝗴𝗵, Jamie Jimenez, 𝗥𝗶𝗴𝗵, rise and shine. We've got a big show today. First of all, our bots are green, guys. Our bots are green. So the reason why I say the bots are green, they've been down the last couple of days. Because the markets were down. But now our bots are starting to make a lot of money. Just look at the Doge bot. He's already made 192,000 on the trend and $8 on the grid. You've got the Bitcoin bot in profit. We're going to talk about these bots because they're big time starting to profit now. And I think that now is the best time to be getting into bots. I mean, if you want some like really fun news today, something that I saw today, which I think will blow your minds, blow your socks off. It can only happen in crypto, right? So remember the dog with a hat, 𝗥𝗲𝘀𝘆. Oh man, I just closed the tab. Hold on, let me get that tab open first. Remember 𝗥𝗲𝘀𝘆. So the hat from 𝗥𝗲𝘀, the hat that the dog wears. You know that like that dog hat, the 𝗥𝗲𝘀 hat. So now that 𝗥𝗲𝘀 hat is going up on auction. How much do you think it's getting auctioned for? Like how much do you think the current bid is for the hat of the 𝗥𝗲𝘀 hat? Come on, what do you think? Like throw a number, come on. 100 grand, 50 grand, $1,000. What would you pay for the hat, the hobo hat? That's like a hat that the hobos wear, and the dog was wearing it. What would you wear? What would you pay for the hat? Come on, give me a number. Any number you want. Right now, and there's still 5 hours left in this auction, $12 million. $12 million. Guys, $12 million for a 𝗥𝗲𝘀𝘆 hat. Also, later on in the show, there's a specific chart that I want to talk about, which not a lot of people are talking about, where I think we have a responsibility to talk to you about this chart. That's this chart over here. Do you guys, I mean, I thought Bitcoin was going to help you guys get girlfriends. I thought the whole idea behind Bitcoin was to help you guys get girlfriends. What is this chart, guys? I thought we discussed that the whole idea why we want to get Bitcoin is so we can get girlfriends. And since Satoshi created Bitcoin, you can see what's happened, right? Anyway, let's get into alpha today, because there's a lot of alpha, and I really want to discuss this Trump plan, or this Trump executive order that's being signed at the moment. Not new news. Just remember, if you're new, subscribe, and if you are here, I see it's only 216 likes. I need you to help me get distribution here, guys. Obliterate the like button. As someone said here, go long the like button. Also go long girlfriends if you got Bitcoin. Someone says, who's bidding that chart? Who's bidding that chart? Someone says we need a proper prayer. We'll do a proper prayer. But hit the like button. Guys, come on, help me. Help me help you. Help me help you. And also, if you're a virgin, just let me know in the chat. So we know who I need to know immediately who the 55% is here, all right? Share of men under 30 who reported 0 female sexual partners since they turned 18. Under 30. 12 years. Jeez, bro. Okay, just tell me in the chat if that's you. Tell me in the chat if that's you. All right, let's talk about what actually happened today. So Markets are green. Why are markets green? And you can see that there's a lot of green in the markets, and it's serious green. I saw SUI up at like 370 again. I saw Athena back up at 60 cents, 63 cents now. Looking good. Curve back up at $1.93. A lot's going on in the market. Why? Because Trump just signed a executive order, right? Or is set to sign an executive order today. And that executive order, what it allows, the main change in that executive order is that 401k plans in the United States are going to be able to invest in a whole lot of alternative assets. So it's not only crypto. Obviously, like the crypto bros are like, hey bro, it's crypto. It's not crypto. It's allowing 401ks to invest in a whole bundle of assets that are non-traditional assets. So it's the assets that are listed are crypto, private equity, real estate, and those are all allowed to trade in your 401k. So let's just take a few steps back. So Americans, I know you think everybody knows what a 401k is, but like in most countries, no one knows what a 401k is. What is a 401k? A 401k is effectively a retirement account in the United States, right? So if you want to have a retirement account, in some countries, you put it into a separate retirement account. In the US, they call it a 401k because, you know, the US, they love like, have you filled in your Form 72, your Form 1084, your WB7B26524? That's how the US works, right? Everything is like in codes. So what is a 401k? It's just a retirement plan. And what that means is that if you put money into that retirement plan, that money is not taxed until you pull it out of your retirement plan, right? So like, think about it like this. If you got $1,000 or you earn $1,000 and it goes straight into your retirement plan, it's still $1,000, and that $1,000 grows and grows and grows until you retire. And you actually only pay tax on it when you retire. If you don't put it into your retirement plan, you take the $1,000 and they tax you. And then they tax you, you've only got $500 after tax. Or if you live in New York, you got like $3 left after tax, right? Because you know New York, just any blue state, they basically tax you so hard that there's actually nothing left. And so you don't have anything left. And so the 1,000 becomes, if you want to invest it, you've hardly got any money to invest, right? That makes a massive, massive, massive difference. So imagine this. If you take $1,000 now and put it into Bitcoin until you retire, which is in like say 30 years or 40 years, or if you don't put in your 401k, then you only pay tax on the gains. But if you don't put it into your 401k, you get taxed on it immediately. Now you got $500, and then you got to invest the $500 into Bitcoin. You're effectively investing 50% of the money into like Bitcoin and other real growth assets. And that's what this executive order allows people to do. It allows 401k plans to put their money into these alternative assets and basically get what Scott's called tax deferred or tax-free crypto trading. Because now in your 401k, in your retirement account, you can trade your crypto risk tax-free because you only get taxed at the end of your when you retire. That's when you get taxed. So really what Trump is doing here, he's encouraging people, and specifically when I say people that have a 401k, and the people that have a 401k in the United States, well, that's a lot of people, right? In fact, if you look at the numbers, so I've got two sets of numbers for you. The first set of numbers is they say that there's $12.2 trillion in retirement plans, of which 8.7 trillion is held in 401k plans, right? So that means that there's a potential market of $8.7 trillion where people can now trade into crypto, real estate, etc. Guys, that's quite a big number, right? That's like a very, very, very serious number that becomes unlocked. And I mean, I know how Americans treat their 401ks. They basically hold them very, 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 very close. It's like sacred to them, right? And now this money can be used to grow in crypto. A lot of Americans have these 401ks. Let me just give you like let's just ask ChatGPT to help us here. How many Americans have a 401k plan? A 401k. Let's just see what ChatGPT says. I wonder like the actual number of Americans, that 70 million Americans, about 42% of the working populations, have 401k accounts. If we look more broadly at the retirement account ownership, which includes IRAs, okay, we're not really worried about that. 70 million Americans, 42% of the workforce, will now be able to buy crypto using their 401 plans. Now, look, truth is, this is not new news. Even though it broke today, there was news on July 15th, which is about 3 weeks ago, which was broken by Lucky from our frontrunners, 𝗥𝗲𝘀𝘆cie from our frontrunners. It says, US President Trump is expected to sign an executive order in the coming days designed to help private market investments more available to US retirement plans, the Wall Street Journal reported. So it was reported a while ago, but today is actually the day when Trump actually signs it into effect. And so that's probably why the markets are running. So again, good news after good news after good news. We've had the SEC with Project Crypto, which we spoke about yesterday. We've got Trump. I mean, it's like one domino after another domino after another. It's like, can things actually get any better? Can things actually get any better? I don't know if the market's really priced in like all this bullishness. I know we think we have, but like, we're showered in bullishness. You know what I feel like? I almost feel like, like they say, like, God sees everything. And like, like you always say, like, God sees everything. And then like, he makes sure that like, he like you get what you deserve. So we had like 4 bad years in the last 4 years, or even 8 bad years, but let's say 4 bad years. And like, it's almost like God saying, look, for every bad thing that Gary Gensler and the Biden administration did to you, I'm going to give you like one good thing back. And it's like, oh, please, like, stop, please, enough. I can't handle all this goodness. I can't handle all this goodness. And it just comes and comes and comes. And it's like we're drowning in goodness, but we're not going to die. This is like a good drowning in goodness. So this is good. Every day, someone says 𝗕𝗂𝘀𝗶𝗴 breaking out. We'll talk about 𝗕𝗂𝘀𝗔𝗧𝗨 today. Wonder Dog, Ran got the sniffles. Yeah, I have got the sniffles. It was nose cleaning. It was nose cleaning. Anyway, let's talk about the pump, because there is a pump going on right now. Let's just look at some of our favorite coins in the pump. So we have pump 33, Bitcoin 116, dominance down. ETH is on fire. ETH on fire. One that I saw which was on fire is the one that I spoke about yesterday, which is 𝗕𝗃𝗃. Right, we spoke about 𝗕𝗃𝗃 yesterday. Remember 𝗕𝗃𝗃 USD? We spoke about that yesterday. There it is, up. There's the green candle. It'll carry on going up now. Someone says it's not like the perfect storm on the horizon. It's almost like the perfect sunshine, the perfect holiday, the perfect. You know what I mean? It's perfect. What else is firing away here? What else is firing away here? I mean, everything's up today. Kita up 21%, $1.13. Okay, that's good. Deepbook up 17%. Radium up. Okay, so I mean, just all in all, a very strong day. But I think the biggest strong token of the day is ETH, right? Just look at ETH, and if you look at it on against Bitcoin, that's what ETH has done against Bitcoin today. And if you look at it against Solana, I mean, listen, this chart doesn't look good. I'm a big Sol holder. I love Sol, but this chart isn't a good chart. Like, it's not a good chart. Like, that's the next level, and it's not a good level that you want to be at. So I thought when I looked at this chart, I kind of thought to myself, hold on a second. I'm getting quite, as a Solana holder, I'm getting quite nervous about holding Sol, because it just looks like when I compare Sol to ETH, and ETH is not like the best asset in the world. It looks like the numbers going down and down and down and down and down. And actually, if I look at Solana, actually hasn't done anything for a long time, right? Like, look at this range. This range has been going since 10th of March 2024. So in the last year, Solana has been in a range. So what I thought I'd do is I'd look at Solana versus base, right? So the reason why I look at Solana versus base is because we know that Wall Street has an insatiable demand right now for ETH. Whether it's in the form of the ETFs or whether it's in the form of the treasury companies, there's a ton of ETH buying that's happening right now. Now, one of the main things in my mind that is actually driving ETH is Base and Coinbase, right? I kind of think that if Base and Coinbase weren't all in on ETH, then I think ETH would be having a much tougher time than it's actually happening. So what I thought we'd do is quickly look at what Base is doing on ETH, and also compare the stats to Solana, and have like the ultimate showdown of Base versus Solana. And I think the results are absolutely going to blow your minds. They're going to shock you, right? They're going to shock you. And 𝗥𝗃𝗃 says it's probably the best time to get some Solana. Maybe we'll talk about that in a second. So let's talk about all this hype. What's happening? Why is there so much hype on Base and ETH and everything else? So first of all, let's understand what Base is. Base is a chain that was created by Coinbase, right? And Coinbase are the only sequencer in Base, right? So it's an L2 on Ethereum, which was created by Coinbase to try and migrate all their users onto Web3. Just like BNB's got the BNB chain to try and migrate their users onto the chain. And actually, like a lot of other exchanges are actually doing it. And actually, I'll show you another exchange, which is actually probably one that most people actually don't know about, right? And I'll show you that one a bit later. The Base chain is currently like Coinbase's biggest focus, or one of their biggest focus. And the reason why that's so significant is because Coinbase have about 110 million verified wallets, right? So like it's quite a big number. They have a 20% market share of verified wallets. They all use Coinbase, right? And it's by far the biggest exchange in the United States. Now they've gone all in on Base, right? And to the extent that Brian Armstrong on their latest earning call, you can listen to this here. I'll play it for you quickly. This is what Brian Armstrong said about any token that is listed or any token that is trading on Base. Just listen what he says.
Every asset you want to trade in a one-stop shop, all on crypto rails. This means, to start, we're enabling access to millions of spot crypto assets. This is the number one thing our customers want from us. And in Q2, we hit over 300 total assets listed on our exchange. Next week, we'll be rolling out the next chapter of our asset addition strategy by integrating decentralized exchanges right into the Coinbase app, which will eventually...
Listen to what he said. He said, look, our users have been asking us to add more assets for us to trade. And what they've been doing is they listed about 300 more assets on the Coinbase app. But also, they now have made it a situation where they've integrated on the Coinbase app, they've integrated decentralized trading, which effectively means that now directly from a wallet on the Coinbase app, which you won't even feel or not even really know that you hold, you'll be able to trade any token that's actually listed on Base. So they've integrated decentralized exchanges into the Coinbase app. Now, the biggest winner of this is obviously the biggest decentralized exchange on Base, which is 𝗥𝗲𝗀. Now, 𝗥𝗲𝗀 is one of the tokens that I've put into most of our portfolios, including the portfolio which I built here on this Crypto Insider channel. So, you know, we've got another channel called Crypto Insider. That's where I drop deep dive videos. And here I dropped a portfolio, $1,000 portfolio. Now, later on, I'm going to be dropping another video on this channel. And then later on, I'm going to be dropping a video around building the perfect $5,000 portfolio, the perfect $10,000 portfolio, and even the perfect $100,000 portfolio. So, and 𝗥𝗲𝗀 is one of those tokens that I've actually put in that portfolio. If you want to subscribe to that channel, just go to this show, and I'll show you where there's a link. There's a link to the new channel, where I'm dropping a video straight after. Like the minute the show ends, we're going to drop a video on this new channel. There's a link over here. I don't see that link. Is there a link? Can we put the link here to the new channel? Ask the guys to put the link to the new channel. Okay, so what Brian Armstrong announced is he basically said, look, we're integrating decentralized exchanges into the Coinbase app so that all the users that use the Coinbase app will now be able to trade any token that is actually listed on Base. So what does that actually mean? It means that if you're a token on Base, indirectly and automatically, you almost get like a Coinbase listing. It's not a Coinbase listing because you're not listed on a centralized exchange, but any user that's using the Coinbase app will be able to trade any token on Base, which effectively means that you've got a listing on the Coinbase app, right? And that's quite like big news. That's like really quite big news, and there's a lot of hype around it. And as I said, I think the biggest winner here is going to be 𝗥𝗲𝗀, because 𝗥𝗲𝗀 is the biggest DEX on Base, and you can kind of see like the numbers around Base and the DEX trading volume. And obviously 𝗥𝗲𝗀 is by far the number one, and you can pretty much see that over here. Obviously, a whole lot of other tokens on Base will actually benefit. One is, any token that's listed on Base will benefit because now it gets access to a whole liquidity pool of money. And so someone spoke about 𝗕𝗂𝘆 and a whole lot of like 𝗥𝗲𝗄, 𝗕𝗂𝘆, and a whole lot of other ones. They'll all obviously benefit indirectly from this. Morpho also benefits. The reason why Morpho benefits, Morpho is the biggest lending borrowing app on Base. And the reason why they benefit is because now crypto-backed loans on Coinbase also powered, so they've also integrated crypto-backed loans on the Coinbase app. That's the first big news that's happening out of Base. The second big news that's actually happening out of Base is that Coinbase took their old Coinbase wallet, right? They took the Coinbase wallet. And what they did was they turned the Coinbase wallet into like this super app, which they're now calling the Base app, right? So if you look at the old Coinbase wallet, so the Coinbase wallet is now Base app. And on the Base app, basically, they designed it in such a way that there is a social network, a place to discover and use apps, a secure, new, powerful encrypted chat, and world-class wallet with best-in-class payment tools that allow users to trade. What they're basically trying to do here is they're trying to create a social network around the Base app where people can trade with each other, follow each other, into investments together. And it looks like, I must say, it's being tested at the moment. It's obviously on waitlist. But you can see that it looks like a combination of PayPal, where you can pay people, but you can also chat to people, you can communicate with people, you can do a whole lot of other things. I'll show you some of the other things that you can actually do. So you can trade millions of tokens from the Base app. You can discover apps, chat with friends, all in one place. You can listen to this as well.
Hello everyone, this is Monday, and I want to explain you how trading features work within the Base app.
We integrated trading features across the app. You can trade directly from the homepage using the quick buttons. Enjoy social trading for buying content coins straight from your feed. For advanced traders, we recommend to go to the middle tab and explore our trending coins. Buy directly from that list. If you want to see a balance, go to the Finance tab. So you can trade from here as well, but you can also see all your holdings.
So you see what they've done? They've made it like a social trading app, a fun trading app, and you can basically do this all from one app. And I think it's going to be quite a powerful app, and especially because for these apps, getting 100 million users online is a big number. And I think it's really going to make a game changer. From the app, you can also scan QR codes and pay for things like coffee. Okay, so you can get the coffee. That coffee looks quite good, actually. I won't lie. And you can pay using Base Pay. You can explore many apps. You can, let's just quickly see what else you can do. Chat with AI agents and learn crypto, play games, earn by posting under the social app. They've really gone big into social. Post pictures with your day-to-day life, experiment with newer content formats, check the videos only feed, trade posts, follow and learn from folks, send DMs to strangers. They're basically competing with Twitter. Request a $1 from a stranger, request group chat with friends, join communities, etc., and basically land up having a lot of fun. So that's what Coinbase are doing. On top of that, they've also made a little upgrade, which makes Base a whole lot faster. It's called Flash Blocks. Now, this thing about Flash Blocks is it doesn't make Base automatically faster. You have to actually integrate it. So I did a little bit of research here, and it says the block time of 2 seconds in the Explorer is accurate for the full confirmation process. The 200 millisecond confirmation is with Flashbox, which is specifically for applications that have integrated this technology. So they've also got technological upgrades that make them a lot quicker. So now that's pretty much what's happening on Base. And as a result, a lot of the Base tokens are starting to benefit, the big ones, the small ones. And we can do a whole Base show and talk about specific tokens. I don't want to do that exactly on this show. For me, the big question is, with all this noise around Base, I kind of wanted to compare Base and Solana and really understand if Base is eating Solana's lunch, if Base is taking over Solana, right? Because when I looked at the tokens that are trading on Base, these are the tokens that are trading on Base. These are, some of them are quite serious tokens, like 𝗕𝗟𝗄, which is a new app, 𝗕𝗟𝗄, which I think we all know is that layer one that's very fast, like 𝗥𝗲. You got Ribbit, you've got Ribbit, you got 𝗕𝗲𝗅, you got 𝗕𝗲𝗪, you got a whole lot of he has 𝗕𝗲𝗅 over here. You got virtuals, and then I looked at the Solana coins, and like the Solana coins are all meme coins. Like, look at this, Fightless, Trollboss, like Barcoin. And I was like, holy shit, like, am I invested in the wrong chain? Well, you can't really invest in Base, right? So what I decided to do was actually to compare the metrics. And I went quite deep into the metrics to try to understand exactly what's going on in Base versus what's going on in Solana. So I started off with the actual technical metrics because kind of wanted to understand chain by chain, space by space. If I compare the two chains one for one, which is a better chain? Which is a faster chain? Which is a cheaper chain? This is what the results landed up looking like, right? So on Base, the average transaction cost is about 1.9 cents. On Solana, it's 0.00025. The current TPS on Solana is about 960. The current TPS transactions per second on Base, about 110. The maximum recorded transactions per second are about 3,000 on Solana and about 1,300 on Base. The max theoretical TPS, Solana says they can do 65,000 and Base say they can do 3,571. Finality to block times, 2 seconds for Base and 400 milliseconds for Solana. And so from a technical point of view, right now Solana is by far the more superior chain. And I think from a decentralization point of view, I don't need to tell you, if you are a decentralization fundi, well, Solana's got 1,100 validators. Base has got one sequencer basically. So Coinbase is basically completely in control. All right, that's the technicals. But it's not actually all about technicals. Sometimes we actually just want to look at regardless of the technicals, the chain might actually be performing, right? So I looked at the actual absolute metrics on Solana versus Base. So first of all, I looked at the total addresses that have ever been minted on the chain. And this is not really a fair comparison because Base has been around for longer than Solana's been around for longer than Base. But Solana's got 6 times the number of wallets that have been created, right? Base has got 587 million addresses. Solana's got 3.8 billion addresses that have been created. In terms of active addresses, right? So this is where we talk about active addresses. On daily active addresses, Solana has about 3 times the user base of Base. Solana has 3.7 million, and Base has 1.1 million daily active addresses. In terms of transactions, Solana is currently doing about 7.5 times more transactions than Base. In terms of the fees generated by the chain, Solana has done about $1.3 million in the last 24 hours, and Base has done 145,000. In terms of 30-day fees, again, Solana is about 7x what Base is doing. In terms of total value locked, Solana has 9.9 billion total value locked, and Base has 4.2 billion total value locked. That number is skewed, and I'll explain to you in a second how that number is skewed. In terms of stable coins on the chain, liquidity on the chain, Solana has got about 166% more, so 2.5 times what Base has got. Base has got about 4.2 billion. Solana's got about $11.5 billion. In terms of real-world assets, Solana has about 6 times the number of real-world assets. In terms of total tokens minted, now again, this is a skewed metric because a lot of meme coins are launched on Solana. 30 million tokens have been launched on Solana, and 8 million tokens have been launched on Base. 24-hour DEX volume. So here, they're pretty head-to-head. Solana's up only 20%. 24-hour perp volume. Solana's up about 3 times as much. 24-hour app revenue. Solana's up about 8x, which means that the apps on Solana are generating about 8 times the revenue that the apps on Base are generating. In terms of 30-day DEX volume, Solana's 85% higher. 30-day perps volume, Solana's 4x higher. And so generally what we can see is if you look at the absolute metrics, there's no contest between Solana and Base. Absolutely no contest. Solana is leaps and bounds away from leagues ahead of Base when you're talking about the actual numbers and the actual fundamentals. But that wasn't enough for me. And I'll tell you why that wasn't enough for me. Because Solana is an older chain. And by virtue of the fact that Solana is an older chain, Solana has an advantage, right? It's been here for longer. It's going to have more users. It's going to have more TVLs. It's going to have more stable coins on chain. And Solana also doesn't have 110 million users through one centralized entity, which is now bringing it onto their app. So what I wanted to see was what happened to Solana in the last 30 days, right? And versus Base. Because what I kind of want to see was, hold on, maybe in the long term, like Solana beats Base, but maybe in the last 30 days, Solana's like failed and completely fallen off a cliff, and Base has completely overtaken Solana. So what I did was I then broke down a whole lot of numbers just on 30-day growth, right? And I said, okay, let's look at a couple of other things. First of all, daily active users. So if I look at July 7th, Solana had about 3 times the daily active users that Base had, right? If I look at last week, so last week Solana had 3.9 million users. So their daily active users dropped by 10%. And Base's daily active users also dropped, but only dropped by about 7%. So yeah, Base won, but ever so slightly. Like Base dropped by 7 and Solana dropped by 9. But remember, Solana had more users to start off with. Next thing that I looked at was TVL. So if I look at the TVL, on July 7th, 3.5 billion. Last week, 4.2 billion. So Base's TVL actually grew by 20%. Solana's TVL grew by about 13%, which means that actually Base grew slightly quicker. So on those two metrics, Base is actually superior. In terms of stablecoin market cap, well, Base's stablecoins in the last 30 days grew by 1%. Solana's grew by about 3%. So on that metric, Solana wins. In terms of 7-day DEX volume, okay, here, in the last 7 days, more people have traded on Base than have traded on Solana. In fact, Base grew by 47%, whereas Solana dropped by 10%. So the last week hasn't been good for Solana's DEX volume. In terms of perp volume, though, Solana kicked ass again. In terms of 7-day app revenue, Solana's 7-day app revenue dropped by 1.76% and base increased by 72%. So what this tells us, and if you look at the number of tokens in June versus July, in June, 500,000 tokens were minted on Sol, on base, and that grew by 10%. In Solana, 3.6 million were minted in July, and 3.8 million were minted in last week. So what does this tell us? Pretty much tells us that Solana is way, way, way ahead of base. And only in the last week has base started to get any momentum relative to Solana, right? So what does this mean? What does this mean for your investment thesis? Right now, the way that I see it is there's a lot of FUD around Solana. It is a meme coin centric chain, but we can't discount meme coins because meme coins is where everybody is. Solana is not only meme coins. There's internet capital markets on Solana. They are still the biggest. I think they are. Let's actually go to 𝗥𝗲𝘀. I haven't been to 𝗥𝗲𝘀 for a while. Sorry, to 𝗥𝗲𝘀 for a while. What happened to 𝗥𝗲𝘀? Hold on a second. Maybe I have to plug in my wallet for this stuff. Let's have a look here. I want to see what happened with AI agents, because the last that I checked, Solana was ahead in AI agents. AI agents. Let's go to AI agents. So base dominance is ahead. So base dominance is ahead. 3.8 billion. Where is Solana? Let's look at Solana. 2.2 billion. So in terms of AI agents, base is now also in the lead. So what am I thinking here? So number one, you obviously can't invest in base directly. What you can do is you can invest in the infrastructure around base. And like for me, as I've said, the one token that I've really invested a lot of money in is Aerodrome, because regardless of the value that's going to be created, it's going to be traded on Aerodrome. I've obviously invested in Morpho as well. I've invested in a whole lot of other AI agents, and I'm invested in virtuals and a whole lot of other things on base. I'm obviously also a big holder of Solana. And I think that that's exactly the right strategy. I think you need to be invested in a lot of Sol betas, and I think you need to be invested in a lot of base betas. And I think what we'll do is we'll do a separate show where we talk about the individual tokens if you want to invest in base. More deep than just talking about the lending protocol, which is Morpho, or the DEX, which is Aerodrome, etc. We're going to get quite deep into the actual tokens one by one. The thing with base is that there's so many tokens that are AI related, AI launch pads and stuff like that, that you kind of have to go like sector by sector, and you have to say, okay, meme coins, AI agents, sector by sector, and you have to go deep into the tokens. Yeah, I think that's pretty much the summary of Solana versus base. Right now, as I say, Solana very, very, very much in the lead on all metrics. Obviously, we'll keep watching these metrics because you want to make sure that you're not actually getting left behind if the market actually changes. Okay, what else is there? Let's talk about some bots, because I'm obsessed with bots at the moment. Like, I'm making so much money on bots. I'm completely obsessed by this whole thing. So first of all, did they tell people, did they put the link for the new channel? Okay, amazing. So remember that if you want to watch that $1,000 portfolio, if you've got a $1,000 portfolio, and there's going to be a $5,000 portfolio dropping there very, very soon, click here on this link, and it'll take you straight to our new channel, and you'll see in our new channel, you'll see a thing. And then later on, I'm going to drop another video in that chat. So I'm going to drop another video in that chat. Okay, let's talk about bots, because as I said, I'm obsessed with bots. The bots have started making some big money again. So first of all, the directional bots. Remember, we have two types of bots. The one type of bot trades in a direction. So market go up, market go down. And we've also got a bunch of grid bots. The directional bots took a hit because the market took a hit. 𝗥𝗲𝘆's back up at break even. The Joseph Lubin bot, which is the ETH bot, is in a trade and starting to make a lot of money. And now there's actually a new one that's been launched, which is what I call the 𝗥𝗲𝘆_Samani bot. Because it's 𝗥𝗲𝘆_Samani and he loves ETH. So we created a, hold on. Can you ask him to, there we go. So there's the 𝗥𝗲𝘆_Samani bot. And I think that this is the best time to be getting into directional bots. Why? 7-day return, 4% so far. It's only 3 days old. So it's in the last 3 days, it's made 4%. The reason why it's so important to get into directional bots now when the market is low is because they're directional bots. So if you traded out of the 𝗕𝗟𝗢𝗙𝗶𝗵 bot, like I think that was a crazy thing to do because he went down, but now because the market's going up, or at least if you think the market's going up, he's going to start doing well again. This one's got 5 spaces left. There's only 200 spaces in the 𝗕𝗂𝘆𝗀𝗍 bot. This is a Solana bot. It's trading on Solana. It's a directional bot on Solana. There's only 200 spaces. I'm going to put 50 grand into Solana, put 50 grand into all of them. If you want to sign up for this bot, you have to use this link to sign up for a 𝗕𝗏𝗀𝗵 account, which is a non-KYC exchange. And then you can just click on that and follow the bot, or you can do the same on the 𝗕𝗟𝗢𝗙𝗶𝗵 bot. Let's go to the other bots, the grid bots. These guys are all in the money now, big time in the money now, right? So you can see that they were down, but now all of them, except the Bitcoin one, are all very, very, very much in profit. And the profit that they're making is quite big. So what you're going to realize is, now this is why I love the grid bots. So grid bots, as I mentioned to you guys before, they trade in grids, right? So they find a range, like I'll give you an example, like they find a range. Don't remind me of this today, submit. Okay, so they find a range of, like, let's say on Bitcoin, we go for the range of 90,000 to 200,000, and we say 300 grids, just for fun. Okay, you see what the grid bots do is they make money in the direction of the bot, long or short, but they also make money because the bot is trading in and out and in and out and in and out and in and out and in and out every time these grids happen. So very often what you'll find with grid bots is you'll find that they are down, like the SUI one's down $12 on the direction, on the trend, but it's up $65 because it just kept trading in and out of the grids while the price was moving against it, right? So even though I got into this a trade at 374, which is probably 1 or 2 cents under where it is today, this bot is up $65 on trading the actual grids. Now, this is another good example. This Bitcoin bot, I entered at 117, which is slightly higher than where we are now. So I'm slightly down on the direction, but I've made $115 on the grid. And that's why I love these grid bots, right? If you want to follow the bots or follow my bots, you can sign up to Pionex. There is a link below, and you can just follow all the bots over here. If you want to watch a tutorial about how to set up these bots, I'll show you where there is a tutorial, and I'll leave a link to a tutorial as well that you guys can see. I'll show you a tutorial where you guys can actually see it. There we go. Let's go here. So there is a link. Okay, actually, it's on the channel under tutorials. So let's go to tutorials. If you go to our channel and you go to tutorials, which is over here, there's a best AI trading bots. Go and watch that video because that video will show you a step-by-step guide how to follow these Pionex bots. And these Pionex bots are starting to make a ton of cash. Like they're literally, as the market turned, every single one of them turned green. And they're starting to make real money now. They're starting to make like proper money now. So it's not too late. In fact, this is the best time to get in to all of the bots. Why? Because you want to get in at the bottom of the range so that you catch the range up. So if you think this is the bottom of the range, this is probably the best time to get into the bots. All right. So one more thing today. So remember I told you we're going to drop a video on our new channel. Are we ready to drop a video on the new channel? Can I count you down? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, hit it. Okay, so we've just dropped a video on the new channel on Crypto Insider. There's a link below to the channel. So you go to the link over here and you go to here. And we've just dropped a video, and the video is 5 reasons why I'm buying SUI right now. It's a brilliant, brilliant, brilliant video. Go and watch it while you're there. Subscribe to the channel, and then just go and listen to the end of that video because there's like a little nugget that you need to listen to. But this video is pretty urgent. All right, I'll see you guys again tomorrow. Until then, let the bots trade well, my friends.